Daddy Dave's garage holds a scary secret. A sad discovery that leaves fans of Street Outlaws without words. What's hiding in the dark corners of his garage? Watch to find out the truth. Daddy Dave's garage. When people talk about the toughest drivers on Street Outlaws, Daddy Dave's name is always at the top of the list. He's a guy who built his reputation on being strong, precise, and the kind of brave that makes a racer a legend. But what was found in his garage recently has fans shocked not because of something new, but because of something left behind. Something that carries the weight of everything he fought through. Tucked away in the corner of his shop, under a thin layer of dust and old shop lights, sat the twisted remains of a car that every Street Outlaws fan knows by name. Goliath. Not the reborn version. Not the one that roared back to life later. This was the Goliath, the wrecked frame from the crash in 2015 that almost ended more than just a racing career. Seeing it again is shocking. The metal is bent in ways that make you wonder how anyone walked away. The frame is scarred, cracked, and folded in on itself, an ugly reminder of the night things went horribly wrong. If cars carry memories, this one carries pain. To outsiders, it might just look like a totaled race car, but to fans, and especially to Dave, it represents one of the darkest moments of his life. In that crash, he suffered a serious concussion and a bruised lung. Injuries that easily could have been worse. Watching the footage from that night still puts a shock in people's minds. The terrible impact, the fire, the silence that followed before the crew rushed in. It was the kind of moment that made even the strongest racers stop and rethink everything. And now there it sits, quiet, broken, untouched. What makes this discovery so heartbreaking is that Goliath wasn't just a machine. It was the car that helped shape Daddy Dave's identity in the racing world. It was the car fans rallied behind. The one they watched rise and dominate. The one that symbolized the raw, fearless spirit of street racing. Seeing it reduced to a wrecked skeleton hits harder than you expect. But there's another layer to it. Strength. Because while the frame stayed in the corner of the garage, Dave didn't. He rebuilt. He pushed through the pain, the doubt, the long recovery, and came back with a new Goliath. Stronger, faster, and smarter. Still, finding that wreck today feels like discovering a chapter that was never fully closed. A reminder of just how much he risked, how much he lost, and how much he fought to return. And that's why this moment is so heavy. It's not just metal. It's history. It's survival. It's the part of the story that still hurts to look at, but proves exactly why Daddy Dave is who he is. This brings us to the details that led up to Goliath lying in Dave's background. The terrible incident. Once the green lights signaled the start, the cars shot down the track. Almost immediately, Daddy Dave's vehicle moved sharply to the right, then twisted to the left, before smashing into a concrete barrier. The impact caused an explosion, and his truck rolled onto its side repeatedly, flipping several times while Dave remained inside. Witnesses at Amarillo Dragway rushed to help as the car finally came to a stop. Fortunately, Dave survived the incident, but he did not escape without injuries. He suffered a concussion, bruised lungs, and serious shoulder damage. Following the crash, his wife Cassie posted an update on Facebook. She explained that doctors were running scans and x-rays, and that she was waiting for the results. Her post expressed gratitude toward fans for their concern, while also sharing more details about Dave's condition. She revealed that he was in a lot of pain, experiencing confusion, and had temporary memory loss. At the time, he could speak, but couldn't remember what had just happened or even recognize his surroundings. Thankfully, after treatment and rest, he eventually made a full recovery. Years later, in June 2021, Daddy Dave faced another racing incident during a Street Outlaws No Prep Kings episode. This time competing against Fast Bobby. In this instance, Dave crossed the finish line, losing narrowly to Bobby. Yet, he again lost control of his truck, which moved to the right and hit the barricade. As before, crew members quickly ran to check on him. Dave managed to give a thumbs up from inside the vehicle, showing that he had escaped without serious harm. He later described the incident on his YouTube channel, giving fans a first-hand explanation. Dave said the crash happened after a difficult weekend on the track. He explained that his car slipped sideways, and despite his efforts, he could not regain control before hitting the wall. Dave also spoke about the repair process for Goliath, the truck involved. He noted that restoring the vehicle would take several weeks because his chassis specialist had a full schedule. The update highlighted the dedication and effort required to keep a race truck in top condition after such high-impact incidents. These crashes show both the danger of drag racing and Daddy Dave's strength. They also give context to Goliath's presence in his racing life, showing how close calls, hard work, and recovery have shaped his career. Fans witnessed not only the physical challenges, but also the emotional and financial toll of these crashes and the determination needed to get back behind the wheel. Financial setbacks and lost income. Another heartbreaking part of what was found in Daddy Dave's garage ties directly to the money problems he faced after the crash. While fans often remember the dramatic footage and the injuries he suffered, the long-term money problems that came afterward are just as significant and far less talked about. For racers like Daddy Dave, a serious crash doesn't end when the car stops moving. The bills start almost immediately. Medical expenses from the concussion and bruised lung added up fast. And even with support from sponsors and fans, a lot of the responsibility fell on him. These injuries also meant he had to step away from racing for a period of time, which meant losing income from appearances, races, and filming opportunities. In the world of no prep kings and street racing, missing even a few events can put someone far behind financially. Then there's the cost of the car itself. Goliath wasn't just any race car. It was his main tool for competing. When it was destroyed, so was his primary source of earning potential. Rebuilding or replacing a competitive car isn't cheap. Engines, parts, safety equipment, and labor all come with high price tags. And unlike some professional motorsports, many Street Outlaws drivers fund large parts of their build themselves. For Daddy Dave, that meant dipping into savings, leaning on sponsors where possible, and making sacrifices to get back on the road. The discovery in the garage, whether it's old invoices, leftover parts, or the wrecked frame itself, serves as a reminder of how much that crash cost him beyond the physical damage. It wasn't just about fixing a car. It was about rebuilding his entire racing operation from the ground up while balancing the financial pressure of the medical recovery and lost income. The crash forced Dave to rethink budgets, timelines, and priorities. It slowed down progress on other projects and put additional stress on both his personal life and professional reputation. What makes this so heartbreaking is that all of these financial setbacks came at a time when he was already dealing with the physical and emotional shock of the incident. Most people would have walked away. Instead, he pushed through the financial hit, the uncertainty, and the long rebuild process. So, when fans look at what was found in his garage, it's not just a reminder of a wreck. It's a reminder of everything he had to invest, lose, and rebuild just to get back to racing again. The stress of the comeback. Another heartbreaking part connected to the garage discovery is the pressure Daddy Dave faced during his return to racing. After the crash, the garage wasn't just a place to store tools or park cars. It became the center of his entire comeback effort. It was where he had to rebuild both his career and his confidence, all while still recovering physically and mentally from what had happened. For any racer, rebuilding a car is stressful. But for Dave, it went far beyond choosing parts and tightening bolts. He was working to regain his spot on the 405 list, a place he had earned with years of consistency and skill. Losing time after the crash meant he had to start from behind, and the pressure to catch up was intense. The physical recovery alone created challenges. Even though he eventually looked fine on television, the effects of the concussion and the bruised lung did not disappear instantly. Getting back into a race car after a serious crash takes more than physical strength. It requires rebuilding trust in your own body and in the machine beneath you. That garage became the space where he had to push through those doubts, slowly regaining the certainty he once had. Then there was the mental side. Street racing and no prep competition demand complete focus. One small mistake can lead to another disaster. Knowing that and knowing what he had already survived added even more pressure. The garage was a constant reminder of both the setback and the challenge ahead. It was the place where he had to confront fear, frustration, and the pressure of proving himself all over again. Rejoining the 405 list was not something handed to him. The racers on that list never stopped improving, and missing time meant falling behind their progress. When Dave finally got close to returning, he wasn't just preparing to race against others. He was racing against time, against doubt, and against the possibility of not being the same competitor he once was. Every tune, every adjustment, and every decision made inside that garage mattered more than ever. The stress of the comeback was real, and every moment in that garage shows just how much he had to overcome to reclaim his place in the racing world. But fortunately, beyond the track, Daddy Dave has built a career that goes far beyond the roar of engines and the smell of burning rubber. While many fans know him primarily for his daring runs on Street Outlaws, his life outside the racing lanes is equally compelling. He owns a custom shop where he works on cars, designing and modifying them to his exact specifications. This passion for building and tuning vehicles complements his racing career perfectly. Each car that leaves his shop carries the same intensity and precision that he brings to the drag strip, reflecting a dedication that is rare even among seasoned racers. Financially, Daddy Dave's efforts have paid off. His net worth, estimated at $2 million, reflects a combination of his success as a driver, television personality, and entrepreneur. The money is not just a measure of wealth, but also a testament to his hard work, resilience, and ability to turn passion into livelihood. Unlike some racers who focus purely on the thrill, Daddy Dave has always understood the importance of diversifying his work, making a name for himself both on screen and off. His personal life, while more private than his public persona, is an important part of who he is. Married to Cassie since 2013, he is a father to 2 daughters. While he keeps much of his family life out of the spotlight, his nickname Daddy reportedly comes from having children with multiple women. Though the details remain unconfirmed, what is certain is that he cares deeply about his family, balancing the intensity of his racing career with the responsibilities of fatherhood. He has shown that while the track is where he makes his living and builds his reputation, home and family remain central to his life. Despite the challenges, his focus remains firmly on racing. He continues to compete in high-profile events and films for Street Outlaws, including its No Prep King series.